Well, here we are. This is we're on the Brady Bunch mode here on the Top 40 Timeline Rock and Roll Show. This is
I
going to
have
be
to.
on.
I'm going to interrupt just for a second. This is so weird because I've not heard the chimes either time that you have played them now. I know
No,
you were doing it, but I don't know why I'm not hearing it. So we'll see
but
with the recording if it comes out.
yeah. Well, this is the Zoom
Anyways,
meeting because the price of gasoline in Ontario is through the roof right now, and these gals don't live around here. The one in Cambridge, Ontario, right here, and one in Curtis, Ontario, right over there. And it's just so we're setting up the Zoom for a little while anyway. But this is the Top 40 Timeline video show where we talk about rock and roll. And I'm going to be the color guy today because I can't see a damn thing. We've had a problem where we've had to go onto a small laptop because we can't get the Zoom going on mine. So we're off of Mandy's laptop right now. And I can't see the words. So you guys are going to be, don't worry, I'll be color commentating in the middle there. But you guys get the scripts. Lucky you. You get all the scripts, the girls. Yeah. So, and Mandy's got sore eyes because she's been up for 25 hours. So, we're going to scrape through though. You want to start it off, Leah?
yeah, I'll start it off. And Mandy, if one comes up that you're just feeling is just too much for you right now, just let me know. I'll pick it up and we'll go on to the next.
What's the
Okay.
All
problem
right.
with sight? We can't see the script that well. But it's just something that we have to overcome, like everything else. And we call it Frantic Friday around here because we're plugging things in and saying, "Why doesn't this damn thing work? Why doesn't that work?" It doesn't. It's just a wonderful 2 hours, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Loosey Goosey, like I said. Kurt Cobain wrote the song about a girl for his girlfriend at the time, Tracy Miranda. They lived together for a while, and she took the photo that's on the album cover. Miranda didn't know the song was about her until she read about it years later in the book Come As You Are, The Story of Nirvana. According to Chad Channing, who was Nirvana's drummer at the time, Cobain did not have a title for this song when he brought it to the studio. Chad told Songfacts, I remember we were rehearsing the song not long before we went in and recorded the record Bleach. Kurt was just playing the song and we were working it out. I asked Kurt what the song was, and Kurt was like, well, I really don't know. And then I said, well, what's it about? And he says, it's about a girl. And I said, well, why don't you just call it about a girl? And he just kind of looked at me and smiled and said, okay. And we went with it.
They had a lot of influence on music in the 90s with that grunge sound in Seattle.
Oh, yeah, I love
Amazing
Nirvana.
band. Yeah. A lot of my favorite 90s songs come from Nirvana. Okay, Mandy, you got the next story there.
Okay. The song could have been about substance abuse, but I lightened it up, he wrote in his Addictions Volume 1 compilation. It could have been drugs or food or drink, but if you make it love, that's more attractive. Palmer wanted this song to be a duet with Shaka Khan, and he almost got his wish. He recorded it with her, but Shaka's label, Warner Brothers Records, would not allow her voice to be used on the record. So Palmer had to erase her part and re-record her high notes before releasing it. Shaka Khan did appear on Steve Winwood's Higher Love, which beat out this song for the 1987 Record of the Year Grammy.
I didn't know that Shaka Khan appeared on Higher Love. That's pretty cool to know. It's funny the stuff when you start turning over rocks and stones, the stuff that you find. It's interesting stuff.
Hey, 1933, country musician and hee-haw host Roy Clark is born in Marin, I think it's Maharan, Virginia in 1966. Samantha Fox is born in London, and in 1968, Radiohead guitarist Ed O'Brien is born in Oxford, England.
Roy Clark's a great performer.
Oh, I remember watching him on Hee Haw. Oh my God, back in the day. Oh,
Do you remember a song called Yesterday When I Was Young?
yep.
Yesterday, no, that was Roy Clark. And of course, he played the hillbilly comedian on Hee Haw, but yeah, that song was really quite touching. And he was all over the radio back in the late 60s.
Go ahead, Mandy.
Okay, in 1971, Rolling Stone reports that the Illinois Crime Commission has issued a list of drug-oriented rock records, which includes Jefferson's Airplanes, White Rabbit, Protocol Harems,
Procol Harum.
Procol Harum.
Procol
Probably can't say it. Procol Harum.
Procol Harems, A Whiter Shade of Pale, and Puff the Magic Dragon by Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Oh.
Imagine a song by Peter, Paul, and Mary not being allowed.
Yeah.
Really, eh? When you think about it, that's incredibly dumb, isn't it?
Yeah. Especially considering like
back in the day,
that one as a kid.
Yeah.
Back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Well, it was always pinned. The underpinning of that was it was about weed, and that's why. And although they claimed it did not, that was the main reason, right? Puff the Magic Dragon. So, in any event, 19
Frolic in the Autumn Wind.
See, I've never thought of that song like that. I've never even thought of the Puff the Magic.
No, but it was by many.
He was smoking weed until now. But
1972, Billy Joel plays a concert at Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia, which is broadcast by the local radio station WMMR. After the show, the station puts his performance of Captain Jack in rotation, and Joel starts to build a following. This leads to a contract with Columbia Records, which releases Joel's breakthrough album, Piano Man, in 1973, which is broadcast by the local radio station WMMR. After the show, the station puts his performance of Captain Jack in rotation, and Joel, I think I've already put that. I must have copied it twice. This leads to a contract with Columbia Records, which releases Joel's breakthrough album, Piano Man, in 1973.
Okay.
Billy Joel. I haven't. There's one guy I haven't seen in concert yet. I'd like to see him. Maybe he's something else. Go ahead, Manny.
Okay, a few tidbits. The song Addicted to Romance by Bruce Springsteen paints a picture of a blossoming romance. He pledges to share his dreams with his beloved, whom he describes as the neighborhood's broken daughter.
Keep going.
Oh, darling, let me tell you your future. Slip your palm into my hands. This is one of several Springsteen tracks that refer to fortune telling. Others include Brilliant Disguise, where he sings, "The gypsy swore our future was right, but come the wee hours will maybe, baby, the gypsy lied." And 4th of July, Ashbury's Park, Sandy. Did you hear the cop finally busted Madame Marie for telling fortunes better than they do? Madame Marie was a real fortune teller who had a booth along the boardwalk of Ashbury Park on the Jersey Shore. Legend has it Springsteen met Madame Marie when he was a young man, and she told him he would be a success. He joked with her that she said the same thing to all musicians.
Springsteen, of course, another guy that now Springsteen and Billy Joel were not too far away geographically from each other, so they had the same.
I thought it was kind of cool. He actually had a reading and incorporated this into the song, and it was about this woman who was somebody he saw.
Which album is that from? I've never even heard that song. I don't even.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. He's a talented guy. I thought he was great, but I wasn't into Bruce's music so much, so I'm honestly not as familiar with a lot of his songs. But the song that this is about is "Addicted to Romance."
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
go ahead, girls. You got the post today. I'm the color guy. You guys are the play-by-play. You got to jump into the story. Let's go.
I'm trying, but you won't let me.
Go ahead.
As he often did with the lyrics, Scott Weiland wrote Adhesive for Stone Temple Pilots. He bared his soul on this track where it offered a glimpse into the psyche. Weiland, who died of a drug overdose in 2015, suffered from bipolar disorder, which plays out in the lyric, which is full of contrasts, starting with the opening lines. My friend Blue, he runs the show with hot pink, purple, china glow. By this time, he was a bona fide rock star and dealing with the machinations that came with it. This plays out in lines like corporate records fiscal year, down the river, down the river. A rather poignant line is sell more records if I'm dead.
This is the Top 40 Timeline video show, and it's the gals and I together this week. It's, of course, Leah Lywood, and we have Mandy is right here, and I'm Big Daddy. Heard on many radio stations around the world, and this is the video side of the show where we take rock and roll and we start pulling it apart.
You have curtains closed there? You guys look like it's midnight over there.
Well, it's just the way the sun's hitting the building at the moment, I think.
I can see are your faces. It's just your faces are glowing from the computer.
It's just the way the sun's hitting the side of the building, I think.
But even behind you must have the curtains closed, because even behind you, I can't see anything.
Oh, I see. We were supposed to open the curtains.
We were?
Okay. That's usually my job. I'm not there. It's all good. Okay, Mandy, go.
Okay, so today in music history, born today, 1924, film composer Henry Mancini, Moon River, is born Enrico Nicola Mancini in Cleveland, Ohio in 1935. Bobby Vinton is born Stanley Robert Vincula in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. And in 1939, Dusty Springfield is born Mary Isabel Catherine Bernadette O'Brien in West Hampstead. Hampstead.
Yeah.
Hampstead.
Yeah.
I corrected myself. I cut it.
Well done.
North London, England. In 1947, rock singer-songwriter Jerry Rafferty of Steelers Wheel is born in Paisley, Renfrewshire, Scotland.
Very well done.
And in 1971, Tejano singer Selena is born Selena Quintanilla in Lake Jackson, Texas.
Every time I hear Bobby Vinton, I always think of my sister-in-law Tony. She used to love Bobby Vinton. My God.
Oh.
He was he was part of that early 60s where there was getting away more into the crooner side of it and getting away from the rock and roll. And it wasn't until the Beatles came back in that because we were getting the teen idols, the Frankie Avalon and him and others. But it was an interesting period when rock and roll was kind of stagnant and not much going on. But Bobby Vinton has always been a favorite of mine. I love the polka hit he had in the 70s. My Melody of Love. Remember that? Yeah. All right.
Yep,
Go ahead, guys.
We got to get moving. We're getting tight on time here. 1969, Elektra Records dropped the MC5 from their roster after the group takes out an ad in an underground newspaper castigating the department store chain Hudson's for not stocking their debut album, Kick Out the Jams. Hudson's didn't want it on their shelves because of a line in the title track, Kick Out the Jams, motherfucker. See the next two, Mandy?
Absolutely. Okay, in 1976, Boz Scaggs goes to visit friend Bobby Blue Bland backstage at the famed Antoine's in Austin, Texas, and is beaten unconscious by two bouncers.
Wow.
Wow.
Something else.
Okay. And in 1992, David Milgaard is released from jail in Canada after serving 23 years for a crime he didn't commit. The tragically hip, who have helped in his fight for justice, write the song Wheat Kings about the ordeal.
Yeah, tragically hip wrote that about it was in Kingston.
Gord Downie specifically, he always wrote about Canadian history. He was amazing that way.
A lot of Gord Downie stuff that's coming out now that was re-recorded before he died, obviously, but it's being released. And some of it's making the charts, so it's good to see her. Gord Downie still having an influence in the rock charts. Go ahead.
Okay, we're
Next.
almost halfway. We gotta fly. Okay. The band Oasis's song Acquiesce. To acquiesce is to begrudgingly accept something without protest. It shows up in a lot of spelling bees. Noel Gallagher explained in November 24th, 2006 Sun newspaper how it came together. It was written going to a studio in Wales to record Some Might Say. The train broke down and I was stuck for 4 hours and I wrote that song. Someone had said acquiesce on the phone and I'd written it down. Liam still doesn't know what it means. People have the misconception that the song is about me and Liam, which annoys me as the lyrics in the second verse are to sing my soul to sleep and take me back to bed. It's absolutely not about me and our kid, and we've never shared a bed. And if I was looking for someone to take me to bed, it wouldn't be Liam.
Go ahead, Mandy.
Okay, this Weezer song, Across the Sea, is about a Japanese fan who wrote a letter to lead singer Rivers Cuomo. After hearing Weezer on the radio, Cuomo responded to her letter with this song. In this song, Rivers tells of his obsession for the Japanese fan who wrote the letter. So I sniff and I lick your envelope and fall to pieces, to little pieces every time. I wonder how you decorate your room. I wonder how you touch yourself and curse myself for being across the sea. Cuomo says they never met, stating, even if I did see her, she was probably some 14-year-old girl who didn't speak English. Rivers Cuomo was asked by Kerrang! Magazine, June 21st, 2008, if the Japanese fan ever realized the song was about her. The Weezer frontman replied, yes, she knows it's her. When I wrote the song, I took her letter and I literally lifted lines from the letter and put them in the song. So she actually collects royalties on that song. The album is named after a character in the opera Madame Butterfly. The album is loosely based on the opera, which is about an American military officer who goes to Japan and falls in love with a geisha. The laugh heard at the beginning of the song comes from drummer Pat Wilson. Wow.
Some interesting stories this week about the songs. And where do you find all this stuff, will you?
I'll never tell.
Huh.
Yeah, it's incredible some of the stuff you come up with.
So I've got a bunch of family here right now, so if you hear a bit in the background.
That's all right. We're
Just so
having
you
fun
know.
this end too, believe me.
Yeah.
You know, I can't see a thing right now because the sun's in my face and I can't see the screen. So I'm just kind of being
Okay.
recorded.
Oh, hang on. In 1934, record producer and songwriter Don Kirshner, the Monkees, the Archies, Kansas, is born in the Bronx, New York City. In 1948, Miami Vice composer Jan Hammer is born in Prague. In 1964, Tool vocalist Maynard James Keenan is born James Herbert Keenan in Ravenna, Ohio. In 1974, Victoria Posh Spice Beckham of Spice Girls is born Victoria Adams in Harlow, Essex, England. 1982, I'll do a couple. 1982, Denison University freshman Laura Carter is killed when a bullet from a gunfight a block away strikes her in the chest while she is riding in a car with her parents. Christopher Cross, who is dating her best friend, writes, "Think of Laura" in her honor. So you ever wonder what Think of Laura is about? That's what it's about.
Wow.
1983, Joe Strummer of The Clash runs the London Marathon, finishing with a time of 4 hours, 13 minutes. He claims that his training included 10 pints of beer the night before.
Oh, wow.
Rock and roll and booze.
Kind of goes hand in hand at times.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Want to do the next one, Mandy? The one after that's really long.
Okay, in 2016, singer Josh Stone postponed shows in the Caribbean to be with her sick dog, which she said was the closest thing.
Say that 3 times fast.
Closest thing I had to a child. She said her pet had made it through the night, but she had to go back and make sure she was okay.
I think that's amazing.
I think it is too.
Can you actually see my face right now? It's just I can't see a thing.
Yeah, it's like you're just a ghost.
Yeah. You guys carry on and watch Big Daddy in pain here. Can't see a damn thing.
Okay, here we go. John Lennon wrote the song Across the Universe after having an argument with his wife Cynthia. He said, I was lying next to me, first wife, in bed, and I was irritated. She must have been going on and on about something, and she'd gone to sleep, and I kept hearing these words over and over, flowing like an endless stream. I went downstairs, and it turned into sort of a cosmic song rather than an irritating song. It drove me out of bed. I didn't want to write it, but I was slightly irritable, and I went downstairs, couldn't get to sleep until I put it out on the paper. The refrain, Jai Guru Deva Om, is a mantra intended to lull the mind into a higher consciousness. The words are in Sanskrit and they mean, I give thanks to Guru Dev, who was the teacher of the Maharishi. The Om at the end is the drawn out Om used in meditation to relate to the natural vibration of the universe. While visiting the Maharishi in Rishikesh, John purchased a set of brass bracelets with the words Jai Guru Dev imprinted on them. The bracelets are now in the possession of Julian Lennon and were on display at the White Feather in the Spirit of John Lennon exhibit at the Beatles Story in Liverpool. This song is often cited as an example of tensions between Lennon and McCartney over treatment of each other's songs. When the Beatles went to record it in February of 1968, both Lennon and McCartney decided they wanted falsetto harmonies on the song. No matter what he did, John said he was sounding out of tune, so Paul went outside, grabbed 2 apple scruffs named Lizzie Bravo and Galen Peace to add to the background harmonies. John is quoted again about that saying, the original track was a real piece of shit. I was singing out of tune, and instead of getting a decent choir, we got fans from outside. They came in and they were singing all off key. Nobody was interested in doing the tune originally. In another interview, he said, the Beatles didn't make a good record of it. I think subconsciously, sometimes I say we, although I think Paul did it more than the rest of us, Paul would sort of subconsciously try and destroy a great song, meaning we'd play experimental games with my great pieces like Strawberry Fields, which I always thought was badly recorded also.
Wow.
Lennon and McCartney. You ever figured out how many songs they wrote together? The two of them?
It's listed somewhere. I remember seeing it, but it's many. Hundreds.
And whoever wrote the song sang lead. Did you know that? I believe that's true anyway.
I think you're right for the most part.
Yeah. But, I mean, some of those songs are timeless, like Across the Universe. Always puts me in a good mood.
I'm just going to interrupt for a minute. I just got a news thing flash up. saying that in 25 states in the US, the internet is shut down 100%.
You're kidding.
Really?
No, it just came up. So I don't know
wow.
what it was, what news, I don't know. I just thought I'd mention it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So hurry up in case it hits here.
Oh, really? Okay. Born today in 1940, Mike Vickers, born in Southampton, United Kingdom, was a British musician who came to prominence as guitarist, flautist, and saxophonist with Manfred Mann in 1942. American entrepreneur and music executive Seymour Stein. He co-founded Sire Records and was vice president of Warner Brothers Records. With Sire Stein, signed bands that became central to the new wave era of the 1970s and the 1980s, including Talking Heads, the Ramones, the Pretenders, Madonna, Depeche Mode, the Smiths, the Cure, the Undertones, and Echo and the Bunnymen.
That's quite
And I've
the,
listened to them all.
that's quite the resume there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seymour Stein was actually born Seymour Steinbeagle, and he shortened it.
Steinbeagle?
Steinbeagle. He's
Steinbeagle.
Jewish. He's Jewish.
Carry on.
You want to do the next one, Mandy?
Okay, in 1963, after a Beatles performance at Royal Albert Hall in London for the radio show Swingin' Sound 63, Paul McCartney meets the actress Jane Asher. They become one of the most popular couples in England and get engaged. But they never marry and split up in 1968. This relationship inspires several Beatles songs, including All My Loving and I'm Looking Through You.
I'm looking through you. I'm looking through you. I love that.
1981. Chris Squire and Alan White of Yes begin rehearsals with Jimmy Page and Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin. It doesn't lead anywhere, and Yes gets back together to release their 1983 album, 90125. Excellent album. That was really well done. 1996, Gavin Rossdale of Bush is shirtless on the cover of Rolling Stone, but the article inside trashes the band, calling them Nirvana wannabes. The knock on Bush is that they appropriated an American sound, grunge, and engineered a calculated takeover using their pretty boy lead singer as bait. The article takes this tone with remarks like, despite all Bush's suspicious name dropping and gestures of alternative rock correctness, they seem to be sincere. They may even escape the built-in obsolescence that endemic among bubble grunge bands. Bush's next album, Razorblade Suitcase, was released in November and goes to #1. Responding to the article, Rossdale retorts, here I am on their cover with no top on, selling tons of copies of their magazine, and they ask, why won't anyone take me seriously? Well, 6 or 7 million people have our record, so that's at least a few people who don't hate me.
I like Bush. They're a great band. So
You wanna
they're
do the
called
next
Nirvana
one?
wannabes. Isn't that really Nirvana wannabes?
No, I don't think so. I think that was a bit harsh.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the next one, Mandy, or do you want me to do it?
I think go ahead and do this one.
She's going to have a nap while you're reading that.
Yeah.
I think so.
So, like Mirror Ball's Song X, Neil Young's song Active Love is about abortion. It's sung from the perspective of a man who abandons his pregnant lover despite his promises to always take care of her. He offers to pay for an abortion, but the holy war brewing around the issue will make it a difficult choice for the woman. Even though Young wrote it specifically for the 1995 Washington pro-choice benefit, the song doesn't take sides. There's no bias, so you have to make up your own mind. Finally, Young explained in a 1995 Mojo interview. See, personally, I'm pro-choice, but the song isn't. This isn't an easy subject to confront head on. People who say that human beings shouldn't have the right to dismiss a human life, they have a point. You can't dismiss that point, but then there's the reality. There's idealism and reality. The two have got to come together, yet there are always major problems when they do. Pearl Jam performs with Young on Mirrorball, a collaboration that began with Active Love, which is the song we're talking about. Young first played the song with his band Crazy Horse at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony, where he was inducted by Pearl Jam frontman Eddie Vedder. Vedder and his bandmates recorded the performance and quickly learned the song so they could play it with Young at the pro-choice benefit the next night. Young was so moved by the newer version, he wanted to record the song with the band as soon as possible. Less than 2 weeks later, Pearl Jam joined Young at a Bad Animals studio in Seattle to cut the record and ended up recording a whole album. Stone Gossard, the man's rhythm guitarist, recalled, "It was just a beautiful time in the studio in Seattle with candles burning, furniture, and sitting all around. Every 20 minutes, Neil would say, 'Okay, I've got something.' And then he'd pull it up and we'd play it through once or twice, and then we'd lay it down, and generally we'd say, 'That sounds good. Let's keep it.'"
Nice.
The sun's following me. Have you noticed? It keeps coming over this way. This is Big Daddy the blind as a bat this week. So and that's why the gals are taking all over. And thank you so much for filling in for me, because I can't see a thing here. But it's all one of those things that you just got to keep smiling and keep going.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Today in music history. Today in 1942, Alan Price, original keyboardist for the Animals, is born in Fatfield, England. In 1947, Mark Volman of the Turtles, Flo and Eddie, and Mothers of Invention, is born in Los Angeles, California. In 1966, Marion Hugh.
Shug.
Sue?
Shug.
Shug.
Knight.
Suge Knight. Okay, yes, I've heard that. Suge Knight Jr., American record producer, music executive. He is the co-founder and former CEO of Death Row Records. Death Row Records rose to dominate the rap charts after Dr. Dre's breakthrough album, The Chronic, in 1992.
Do the next one. You're always getting these boring, born today ones. Do the next one.
All right. In 1968, George Harrison and John Lennon, fearing that their instructor, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, is a fraud and has been preying on women at his meditation camp in India, leave the retreat 2 weeks early and distance themselves from the Maharishi. Harrison, though, remains dedicated to the concept of transcendental meditation.
Life is a cookie. That's what he said. That's what they fell for it.
I remember it well.
Yeah, that's what their spiritual period, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
No, they never let it go, though. Harrison and Lennon, actually, there's a lengthy interview with the two of them with different perspectives, both spiritual and people that don't believe. It's almost scientific. It's actually an amazing interview. If you ever get to watch it, it was quite well done. And it was the better part 40 minutes long or whatever it was. I don't remember, but I've seen it and I quite enjoyed it. And it was kind of going back and forth about meditation and, the whole stuff. But it was very good. 1980, especially.
I think George was the most religious of all the Beatles. Well, spiritual.
I wouldn't say religious. Spiritual.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say religious. They were both very spiritual in that time. 1980, the Specials become the first ska band to guest on Saturday Night Live, where they played Gangsters and Too Much Too Young. Their energetic performance wows the crowd, but fails to break ska music in America. Of course, ska music being Jamaican for the most part. Really good over there. They just didn't seem to make it over here quite as much.
Ska is big in England too. It's big in Britain too.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah, very much so.
Okay, in 2002, Jeepster by T-Rex becomes the first song successfully identified by Shazam. referred to as the biggest app to identify music. In a pre-launch version of the service that requires the user to call a number and receive a text message with the name of the song.
And the last one we have for tonight, 2010, a week after Catholic Church officials published an article in the Vatican's L'Osservatore Romano newspaper. They said they forgive John Lennon's remarks about the Beatles being bigger than Jesus. Ringo Starr rejected their forgiveness. The newspaper's editors had written the Beatles said they were bigger than Jesus and put out mysterious messages that were possibly even satanic. But what would pop music be like without the Beatles? Ringo was unimpressed and replied, "Didn't the Vatican say we were satanic or possibly satanic? And they've still forgiven us?" I think the Vatican, they've got more to talk about than the Beatles.
Yeah, but
I think
John
so.
John didn't really mean anything by that. He just
Oh, it was a comment. It was, kind of a, I don't know. I know it
well, they
was
were
not
pretty
meant the way
big,
that
you
they
gotta
took
admit.
it.
You have to
Pretty
admit they were
good.
big.
Jesus, they were up. Back in the time, they blew doors open. So
Yeah.
literally.
All right, that's a wrap for another Top 40 Timeline video show. I'm sorry I was blind as a bat, not only with the sun shining in here, but the fact that we went through some technical problems where I can't see anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But the
we
gals did a
gotta
great.
we gotta teach Big Daddy how to get onto Zoom and find out why his computer's not letting him, because that took us a little longer tonight than. So if anybody hears a lot of noise in the background, I told them I'd be done by about 5:30 or 6. So we're running behind. They're all walking around here, family and doing their thing. So
Well, we're
we're all
always
on.
running late on a Friday. You know what I mean? But thank you, the gals, for filling in for me this week. I've just been the color man. Always wanted to do that in sports, is be a color man. I mean, sit there and go, yeah, I'm out. But I kind of enjoyed it today. We'll listen to you guys talking about the music and commenting and stuff. And thanks for joining us again this week. We'll see you next week with more of the same. Halton Hills Online is our YouTube channel, of course. And anything you guys want to say before we take off? Rock and roll, long live rock and roll is what I say.
I'm back at the gym just about every day. So other than reading, I'm kind of just.
Yeah. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you with more rock and roll next week, hopefully in better conditions than we were this week.
Rock on, babies.
Assume the position.
See you next week, everybody. Have a good week, and remember Earth Day.